Good, how you doing?
I am really good. So let's talk about small acts. Tell me about Leroy. Who is Leroy?
A scientist, a father, a community man, a husband who decides to join the police force in order to motivate change. Um, this is essentially a character study into a man who goes through a system that wasn't ready for him, a system that is so hard to navigate, a role that requires a lot of emotional restraint, because he tries to join the police force during a time where race relations is pretty intense, um, and he's kind of used as the face of um, diverse hires from the police to attract other individuals to join up, and it's basically following him through his struggles, through a lack of motivation from his community sometimes you know because of their experiences, their negative experiences of the police. They Him joining now feels like he's almost being a Judas in a sense. So you get to see Leroy, this young man, navigate this very weird transition in his life where he on purpose says no to a life of normality and chooses to be a community man through the police force.
And of course, it's based on a true man. This is someone who is
Still
real.
doing his thing.
So tell me about meeting him for the first time.
No, it was brilliant. What's great about Leroy is that he's actually has his stomping ground is where I grew up. Like I'm honestly, I definitely think I'm part of the generation that benefited of a lot of his work in the community, especially with youth groups and stuff. So when we met, I was actually with a friend that recognized him, that knew that it was like, oh, that used to be my mentor growing up. I was like, wait, what? So when we spoke, we just knew that there's so many things where we've experienced, and I started to speak to him about his decision making. Why he decided to do the most and join the police force at that time and try to instigate change. Why he did that. It was great to understand his mind and understand the way he thinks.
What was it like seeing yourself for the first time in uniform as a police officer?
Great, great. I think as an actor, like I'm open to any role that I play, and when you put the costume on, that makes you feel closer to who you're trying to portray. So in doing that, also it strips me. I don't want to be seeing me in the mirror when I'm playing this guy. So it takes me into that role in a very cool way. And just to know the fit was correct. Felt kind of slick at times. It was all good. It was cool. It was cool. Very different from the other things I've had to wear.
So speaking of the other things you had to wear, there is that joke um, in Red, White, and Blue in which you tell a friend, "I'm going to join the Force," and then a friend says to you, "What are you going to be, a Jedi?" So where did that line in the script when you first read it? Was it
Yeah, yeah,
added later?
yeah. It was in the script, and I was just like, and I never. I'm gonna talk to Steve about this. Like, what were you seeing? Maybe I was thinking about something else, but I never reacted to it. I did think to myself, as a professional actor, are you supposed to say, no, let's not reference this? Is that not?
Right.
But Steve's good with it. I'm good with it. And people actually
um,
liked it. People actually liked it. So I was like, oh, okay,
no, I
cool.
mean, I was watching with my husband and I smacked him. I'm like that.
I was like, there's no, the reference is there. Let it be a fun little moment, little creative moment.
I want to talk to you about the scene where you go into the hospital and you see your dad. Leroy sees his dad after his dad has been brutally beaten and attacked by police officers. Tell me about, because watching the scene, you could feel it. You could feel it. You could see Leroy. The He has a stoic look, but there's confusion. There's what's going on. There's pain. What was it like for you to see Leroy's dad beaten so badly and knowing the story behind it?
It's funny you mentioned that scene because that day was a really special day. Um, because I don't know what was going on in my real life or whatever. Sometimes, you're filming these scenes and you can't motivate a natural performance because you're tired. It was one of those days, and I was like, Steve, I just don't feel like I'm not getting it. And he emptied out the
Mm.
set, told the crew to go off on a break, and he told us a very personal story to him that he had no business telling us. Told us this story, and that really got my head into the zone. After he told the story, he rushed outside, got the crew to run back, like, now's the time to get it. and that's the scene that you see. And it was birthed from Steve sharing a part of his truth with us, and us implementing that into this moment in which Leroy for the first time sees his dad, you know, reduced to a man who's just swollen. It's unrecognizable. So it was a very, very touching and powerful scene to perform for sure.
And when you talk about Steve McQueen speaking his truth, that's what Red, White, and Blue is all about. It's about the truth. And, you know, I don't think it's going to be lost on anyone that you can basically take that story, put it today.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
Is there a difference?
And I think that's a big reflection on our times and the lack of change in certain aspects, you know, a big reflection on that. And that's why, you know, bringing out this project at this rate, they'll always be timely. They'll always be timely. You know what I mean? And that's where the kind of shock and surprise for me goes to. It's kind of like, we are bringing this up because it's also on the flip side, even if this wasn't happening, for people to know their history, know a history that has been undiscovered in a sense that hasn't been given this type of, you know, Steve McQueen, you know, profile. It's just a really, really important, an important move to make.
When did you shoot? When did you wrap?
We shot this time last year. So this was, we shot pre-pandemic, you know, we didn't shoot while any of this madness was going on. We came back for some reshoots for a few days after everything, but the main shoot was last year before March, you know, before the stuff kind of like popped off.
Do you watch it now, think about it now? Is there a different lens? I mean, me as, you know, as a viewer, I feel like I'm watching it through a way different lens for me because of the awareness that's happened with Black Lives Matter. You know, when you were making it, obviously, you know, this is the truth, but now it's coming out after this incredible movement where it just takes on a different, not a different role. I don't know if it's more impactful. I'm not sure. It's just, like we said before, it's the timing. Timing is everything. But at the same time, it's a story that's timeless right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you can't control it with everything that's gone down. I mean, when myself and Stephen were making this, you know, as I said, we had no pandemic. We, you know, George Floyd was still alive. We had no, there was, although there are these ongoing issues, but the intensity that we're experiencing this year, it hadn't reached to that point where it was established in any other way. So as far as I'm concerned, we were still living our free liberal lives. But boy, did that bloody freaking change, you know, under our feet. And then we have this project come out. There was a sense of me that thought, oh my gosh, people are going to think that, you know, this Black Lives Matter produced show that just came out and right at the time. Like, nah, it's not a reflection on me. It's a reflection how crazy it is that there's no change. This will always be bloody freaking timeless, you know?
I thought at one moment, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they shot this after the movement. And I was like, wait, we're in the pandemic.
It's like, nah, don't look at us, bro. Like, the world is messed up. They're still doing the same things. That's why when we speak about it or we mirror it, you get, you know, the thought is that, oh no, you know, that moment, nah, we are artists. We say what we've been saying. You know, like when Steve brought us to set, the responsibility of artistry kind of brought that back. You know, when you're working in industry, you're getting jobs, you're producing, it's all great, but he brought it back to the natural thing. We have to reflect our perspective, the world, and the way in which we see it through our own creative niche. And that is something that I really, really support and definitely understand.
And also the power of your pulpit, the power of, you know, your, lack of a better term, celebrity. You were out there, you were demonstrating, you know, this is a town we know that says, you know what, don't be so loud. But you said, you know what, no, this is the time to be loud. When that occurred, did you get a lot of pushback, or was it mostly people saying, you know what, good for you, it's about time, we can't not speak up now?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that was going to tell me different definitely don't have access to me, so I wouldn't have seen it. But all the people around me definitely worried about, you know, safety, exposure in that way. You're going to offend anybody. That's the natural kind of reaction that comes from people, unfortunately, because of what we hear and what we experience also. And so to know that I was definitely supported by those who's always supported me, because after a lot of the stuff that happened, Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams supported. But what's great about those guys, you know, they've always been supporting me. You know, myself and Jordan had a sit down a year ago. J.J. I speak to on a regular and always checks in. So it's great to see that. But you know, you go through that process where you have to think, is this? I mean, you don't go through the process thinking everything's gonna be fine. That's not you don't do that. You know, that's not you worry, and it's natural to the situation and circumstance, especially what has happened to others with much less of a voice, unfortunately.
And you've talked about how you're open to returning to Star Wars, of course, if it's the right
Yeah,
story.
man, that was such a throwaway comment that they just blew out into some. Is it kids? You know, it's I've said it from the beginning. If Daisy and Oscar, you know, if I've done I think I've done a Q&A or something, and I said, yeah, if they come back, and yeah, man, we'll come and shoot some, you know, guns again. But I think at this moment, it's versatility is like the biggest thing for me right now. And in making a choice, you know, I worked with Chase Palmer as soon as I finished on Star Wars 9, then worked with Steve McQueen. There's so many people that I would really like to explore versatility, different roles, different characters with. This is what I do. Like, I enjoy what I do. So to stay in one place could be sometimes hard. You know, you remember just playing one role, guys, for how long? So it's like, this time would be great also to, you know, get into other stuff. But, you know, a little animation, you know, all I have to do, man, do them feed lines, zoom, make it work.
You just roll out of bed and just do it.
Yeah, man.
But you talked very openly about, you know, the difficulties, the backlash that you face and the struggles of getting through that. Looking back, is there something the studio could have done differently to, I don't know, could you ever be prepared for something like that?
No, absolutely. And these are discussions that are being had, you know, at the studios. A lot of execs will tell you that how to take care of them, not just, you know, the career, the opportunity you're giving them, but how to make sure that you support the individuals you push into a different space entirely is very, very important. And when one of your actors, especially an actor who's just so prominent in the story, is announced as part of your franchise, and then, you know, has a big racial backlash, and, you know, receives abuse online, and that starts to kind of like form a shadow on what is supposed to be an amazing gift, it's important for the studio to definitely lend their voice, lend their support to that, and to get to have a sense of solidarity, not just, you know, in the public eye, but on the ground, on set. And these are honest conversations that I have had with the powers that be, you know, about having more awareness of this, so that it's not really about me, because it's now not an elephant in the room. And next time you cast someone, you know, in that position, you bring them through this process, they need that support. They can't get Boyega. So you gotta lend some support to the ones coming up, because that's what's really, really important. But it's good to have those conversations and moving that forward.
When you were announced in the role, did you think there would be this backlash? Did you?
That was, sorry, forgive my language, but I was so fucked about it. I never. I was just telling someone else that I came through theatre in London. You know, I came through. You know, I was working at Kilburn, at the Tricycle Theatre with, you know, Cobner Holdbrook Smith and Carl Collins, and then I went on to work on Attack the Block, and I just, you know, I felt like it was, you know, it was all right. And then you get Star Wars, I'm like, oh, the world is messed up, because obviously Star Wars is different, exposes you to so much of the global world. So it was like, wow, it was surprising to me I was like, it's crazy. I thought you had to do something, like be an asshole or something to get.
Did the studio reach out right away, or was, like you said, you had to have the discussion with them saying, like, we need more here?
No, there was never a discussion about that. There was never a discussion. Hence why we had the discussion, you know, obviously now later down the line where I opened up about it. And we got on the phone to, you know, discuss that. And I'm continuing to be open to those discussions with whatever studio wants to talk to me about these kind of things, because it's, you know, just for the relation, and so many young people, unknowns that they're going to be acquiring for their projects. You could change their lives and make sure that they're protected here and, in here.
Right. A fun question for you. What was the first audition you ever went on?
Oh, the first audition
whether you got the role or not
was it was for a short film. It was for some short film that was happening. I signed on to some local acting agency and my dad took me. I didn't get it. I didn't get the second either. Let's just skip 26 roles later. Yeah.
Do you remember what you had to do in that first audition? It's for a short film. Did you have to do a monologue? Did you have to?
Yeah, no, it was two scenes. It was a little scene. And I think I was just boy number 2 or something like that. And I had like 2-3 lines and I still didn't get it. Which I'm still quite distraught over.
How old were you at the time?
Oh man, I must have 13. Right about then. Yeah, that's when I started, seeing little audition stuff going on.
But you kept going. You weren't going to let that.
Enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. Loved doing it. It's also, acting is my first love. I remember when I tried to join football, I ended up scoring an own goal, and I had to pretend that I was playing for the other team. That's when I realized, man, not even sports, what am I? I'm a creative. Everyone creative has that moment. And so I found my little audience, and I've been loving it ever since.
Did your parents nourish that creativity?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't always understand it. They didn't always get what was going on, but they were happy to take me to audition. Like my dad took me to most of my auditions coming up, especially when I, couldn't travel by myself. My dad came to my performances, and filmed a lot of them. He, was there at my Christmas show at school, when I did Othello at college, when I was at, the National Theatre with my college group. So they had a lot of involvement, but the transition between it actually making lucrative finances to live a life is where they were kind of like, we leave it into God's hands.
And now you mentioned the Christmas show. Who did you play in the Christmas show?
I was a Nancy. It was Jamaica. It was based on the Jamaican stories, and Nancy the Spider-Man. I was a Nancy and a leopard. One year I was really pissed. I was supposed to be Joseph in a Technicolor Dreamcoat, mate. My dad took me to Nigeria. My dad shipped me to Nigeria for my wayward behavior. So I didn't get to be in a damn freaking Christmas show, man. I was hurt. I was so hurt. I got Joseph and everything, and it went to my friend. One of his name was Nigel, man. They went to him, and I was like, oh man.
I think if anyone needs an idea what to get John Boyega for Christmas, it's a Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Exactly. Let me sing the songs in private, guys. Do that for me.
I could sing the songs with you next time. They're rapping me, but next time, go, Joseph. You know what they say.
Yeah. Deal. Ready. Ready.
Thank you, John. This is awesome. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, right.
And congratulations. It's really a great project, and you should be really proud.
No, thank you.
Thanks, John. Take care.